The worst of the narrow-eyed "who are you" judgment happened on the bus. Yes, I took the bus to school. I was one of the many unlucky losers who staggered down the steps, plopping out from the bowels of the bus, slightly sick from the bumpy ride and noxious diesel fumes, disoriented and blinking in the bright sunlight. And may I state that the school bus riding experience is as awesome in Florida as it had been in Connecticut. Some truly terrible things apparently don't have any regional differences. That morning, as always, I sat by myself. Everyone stared, but no one bothered to talk to me, just like they hadn't bothered talking to me all last week. As the bus approached the school, I aimed my eyes out the filthy window, watching as the early morning sunlight created shadows that offered me brief glimpses of my reflection. I could already see that my glaringly not blonde hair was doing its crazy crap. Mother Nature had blessed me with curly red locks, something for which Mom insisted I should be grateful. But with the Florida humidity, I didn't feel like thanking anyone, especially since I could feel my coils of hair frizzing up and out at an alarming speed. By the time I got to homeroom, I'd look like Bozo the Clown at a metal concert. "Who's the redhead?" I heard a girl whisper behind me, after the bus wheezed to a halt in front of Coconut Key Academy. I didn't bother turning around. It was all I could do not to attempt to smooth down the red hair in question. "That's the new girl," another girl said from a few rows back. New emphasized, as if it were equivalent to contagious, or maybe even vomit-soaked. She lowered her voice as if revealing some additionally terrible secret, but I heard her just the same. "She's a junior." "A junior?" The first girl giggled, a mix of horror and schadenfreude-filled delight. "Oh my God, please just shoot me if I'm still taking the bus junior year." More giggling. I pretended not to hear them, even though my stomach was in knots. I grabbed my backpack and quickly exited the bus, offering the driver a quick thank you wave without glancing behind me. F my mom. Seriously, F her. It was bad enough being here, and being new, and being hot and miserable, but I still wasn't allowed to get my driver's license, especially not now, and, if Mom had her way, not ever. Back home in Connecticut, it wasn't a big deal because I'd had friends who already had their licenses. Nicole, for instance. She'd driven me everywhere. But here, in the land that time forgot, I was destined to ride the bus until the end of senior year, friendless and alone, and mocked for it. It was then, as I was blinking back my tears of despair, as I was about to stagger away to find a bathroom to cry in, that I nearly got knocked over. "Ugh," I said, as I wildly flailed and stumbled to keep my footing. All I needed to cement my status as loser junior who rides the bus was to add loser junior who faceplants in front of the entire school before homeroom to my resume. A girl in a trench coat had plowed into me as she'd stormed by, and even though she was shorter than me and looked like a kid playing dress-up in that massive coat, I was sure that I'd have a big old bruise on my arm from our encounter. Miracle of miracles, I stayed on my feet as the girl kept speed-walking toward the entrance of the school. "Hey," I called out after her, my heart thumping inside my chest as I threw my arms up in exasperation. This near-death experience had been the last straw. My anger dried up the unshed tears that moments earlier had blurred my vision. "Aren't you going to at least apologize or something?" The girl in the trench coat stopped and turned back to look at me, and I saw she was also wearing camouflage print cargo pants. When her eyes met mine, I noticed the dark purple half-moons underneath, casting exhausted-looking shadows over her pale cheekbones. She was probably about my age, although it was hard to tell, considering she looked so visibly worn. Despite her lack of makeup and the almost clammy sheen to her cheeks and forehead, along with a mop of straw-colored hair that hung limply around her face, the girl was striking. Maybe not pretty, but certainly memorable. It was hard to break eye contact. Her default expression was sullen, but as she held my impatient gaze, her mouth dropped open. The look in her eyes was weird, like she was surprised, or almost as if she recognized me.